I'll talk about the Bureau of Customs and the Tariff Commission, their powers and functions. So yung mga basic provisions lang ng Customs Modernization and Tariff Act in relation to their powers, functions, and organization. So are we ready? Okay, let's proceed. So we have various schools attending this webinar. I may not have the list right now, but if ever I'll be given the list later on, I'll greet all of you. I'd like also to specially mention some of my students from University of Cebu main campus and University of Cebu Lapu-Lapu, Mandaue. So this afternoon, once we complete the entire session, we aim to, number one, know and understand the mandate, functions, and organization of the Bureau of Customs and the Tariff Commission. And in order for you to be well prepared in your classes and in the CBLE, we aim to appreciate and apply these provisions in your classes or in the CBLE. Let me please share to you the syllabus of the subject on customs laws, rules and regulations, ethics and customs broker practices. So this is my subject which I'm teaching in the university as well as in the review program. So for customs administration essentials, you can find in topic number 3, the provisions on general administration and customs districts and ports of entry as part of this subject. So kapag alam nyo na to, at least you get the chance of getting, or you have a higher chance of getting a good score for customs law subject. Ang customs law kasi, tatlong major topics yan. Yung first is customs administration essentials. So ito yung mga provisions under customs administration essentials. Yung part 2 is administrative and judicial proceedings. So yung entire Title 11 and Title 14 of the CMTA. And the third part of customs law subject is the ethics, the Customs Brokers Act of 2004 as amended by RA 9503, the Continuing Professional Development Act, and your Code of Ethics and Technical Standards. So those are the subjects, the major topics under the subject customs laws, rules, and regulations. Before we proceed with our main topics this afternoon, I'd like to emphasize, okay, or reorient you on how our customs laws in the Philippines have evolved. When we were part of the Spanish colony, when we're still part of the Spanish colony, so the customs law prevailing then was the Spanish customs law. And then when we were liberated from Spain, when Spain ceded the Philippines to the Americans, then another customs law was implemented in the entire Philippine Islands, and that is the Philippine Tariff Act of 1909. Our customs law was patterned after the customs laws being implemented in the United States, and most of the provisions of the Philippine Tariff Act of 1909 favored goods or products coming from the United States. Then when we finally independent from foreign control, the Philippine Congress passed the first Filipino customs law, and that is Republic Act number 1937, or otherwise known as the Tariff and Customs Code of the Philippines of 1957. So that is the first customs law passed by a Filipino Congress. The two previous laws were handed down to us from our foreign colonizers. The fourth, when President Ferdinand Marcos Sr., the father of BBM, came into power, he consolidated all the customs laws, all laws related to customs administration, all laws related to tariff administration or tariff management into one law, and that is the Presidential Decree number 34, otherwise known as the Tariff and Customs Code of the Philippines of 1972. And with the various amendments, with the changes in technology, with the advancement, with our commitments to international agreement, the Tariff and Customs Code was re-strengthened. Some provisions were introduced and some amendments were made. So another code was issued by President Marcos in 1978. And this was codified into the Presidential Decree number 1464 or the Tariff and Customs Code of the Philippines in 1978. And this law, yung PD 1464, was the customs law that I studied when I was still in college. Because this TCCP in 1978 was implemented until in 2016. Bakit naputol in 2016? Why do you think naputol in 2016? Can you tell us bakit naputol siya in 2016? You can send your answer in the chat box. Why do you think naputol siya in 2016? Yes, because of the Customs Modernization and Tariff Act. Congress passed this into law in 2016 and took effect also in 2016. Thank you for your responses. So, how did the CMTA start? When we talk about the Bureau of Customs, when we talk about the Tariff Commission, our very basis is the CMTA. So we have to know the basics. We have to know the essentials. We have to know how the CMTA started. So the CMTA started, or the call for the passage of a new customs law was brought because of our commitment with our international commitment with the World Trade Organization and the World Customs Organization. And that is because of the revised Kyoto Convention. The revised Kyoto Convention was a convention that entered into force as early as 1974. And this is formally known as the International Convention on the Simplification and Harmonization of Customs Procedures. So ang intention talaga ng revised Kyoto Convention is to harmonize all the procedures of the various customs administrations all over the world. That means kung ano yung proseso sa Pilipinas, ganun din yung proseso sa United States. Kung ano yung practices ng Singapore, ganun din yung gagamitin o i-adapt na practices sa Philippines. So in 2007, the Bureau of Customs announced the adoption of the revised Kyoto Convention in our customs administration procedures, processes, and practices. So because of that, they decided to create a management team that will focus on introducing the amendments to our laws and harmonizing our current procedures with the best practices all over the world. According to the Bureau of Customs, at that time, in 2007, only 55% of our existing customs laws and regulations were compliant with international customs standards. So the World Customs Organization Council adopted the revised Kyoto Convention as the model for efficient and modern customs procedures in the 21st century. Kaya nga yung title ng batas, Modernization, because this is our goal, this is our aim to become a modernized customs administration which is among the world's best. So in 2009, part of the adoption or part of making sure that our commitment is realized is to legislate a law, to pass a law that would make our customs regulations, that would make our customs procedures, that would make our customs practices compliant with the RKC commitment and at par with international best practices. So to make that happen, there was a draft bill. Ano po ba yung bill? A bill is a proposed law. Before a law becomes a law, it is just a proposal. And the title of that proposal is a bill. So in 2009, there was a draft bill. And the title of the bill was the Proposed Customs and Tariff Modernization Act. So CTMA pa noon. And various versions were submitted to Congress. I think there were around 10 versions about customs and tariff modernization. So in order to harmonize all these versions, Senate and the House of Representatives came up with a single bill or a single version, a consolidated version of all these 10 proposals.
Recording in progress.
So in 2015, we had the consolidated version, which is now your CMTA. So in 2015, naging consolidated version yung 10 bills into what we have now as the Customs Modernization and Tariff Act. So the Customs Modernization and Tariff Act is Republic Act number 10863. Wag niyong kakalimutan yung Republic Act number ng CMTA because who knows, that might be asked in your CBLE. I heard stories from examinees, from takers, na naitanong sa board examination nila yung mismong numero ng batas ng CMTA. So if you do not know the number, then it might cause your failure in the CBLE. So it can make you a customs broker or it cannot make you a customs broker. So at least alam nyo, di ba? Kunwari, yung score mo sa CBLE, kulang na lang ng 1 point. And that 1 point is because you did not know or you forgot the number of CMTA, the Republic Act number of CMTA. Di ba? Ang sakit naman na dahil lang nakalimutan mo yung Republic Act number, hindi ka pumasa at hindi ka naging customs broker. So you have to make sure that you know the number by heart. The original text of the CMTA is composed of 166 pages. So yung original text, because once a bill is passed by Senate or passed by Congress, there would be, this bill will be printed. So mayroong printed copy na pipirmahan ng Senate President, pipirmahan ng Speaker of the House of Representatives, at pipirmahan ng Pangulo ng Pilipinas. So yung document, yung mismong papel, yung mismong bill, o yung mismong batas na pinirmahan ng Pangulo is composed of 166 pages. How many sections does your CMTA have? Sige nga, okay, ang bilis Ang bilis ni Sweetney. Sweetney is my student in UCLM. I think alam na ni Sweetney kung ano yung sa susunod kong itatanong kapag nagdi-discuss ako sa slide na to. So your CMTA is composed of 315 sections. Okay, tama. You're all correct. 315 sections. And the first section of the CMTA is what? Anong unang section? Okay. Correct. Section 100. Okay, so we have 240 participants ngayon. So that's times 2 of the first section of the CMTA. Unlike the other laws na nagsisimula sa section 1, yung CMTA po nagsisimula sa section 100. Kagaya ng kanyang tatay, okay, yung kanyang predecessor, which is the TCCP. It starts with section 100. And then if napansin ninyo, yung atin pong CMTA has 18 titles. So yung Title 1, okay, Title 1 on the preliminary provisions, yung section niya is section 100. Title 2, Bureau of Customs, section niya 200. Di ba hindi naman siya sunod-sunod na? Anong last section for chapter for Title 1? Can anyone of you tell me ano yung last section for Title 1? Correct, Sweetney. Section 121. Di ba from section 121, hindi naman siya nag-section 122. Dumiretso siya. Di ba? Nag-jump siya to section 200. So ganyan po ka-unique yung ating CMTA. I just don't know if napansin nyo yan, but I think most of you here have observed that. Di ba? Ganyan po ka-unique yung ating batas na inaaral. Kung yung batas na inaaral natin unique, mas unique din po yung mga estudyanteng nag-aaral ng ating batas. Okay? So not all students are given the chance to study the CMTA. So since you are enrolled in the Customs Administration program, make use of what you know, make use of what you learn. Okay? So gamitin nyo yan para sa pagtulong sa ibang tao. So how can you help other people? By informing them of the basic provisions of the CMTA. So kung meron kayong kakilala, kaibigan na merong transaction with the Bureau of Customs or merong importation, so at least you advise them on what to do, on what are the proper procedures when it comes to processing with the Bureau of Customs. You're correct, Ryan. The last section under Title 1 is Section 121, which talks about duty and tax treatment of relief consignments. And then there are 43 chapters in the entire CMTA. Okay. Ito pong picture na nasa kanan is the book that I prepared about the Customs Modernization and Tariff Act. When I started teaching in 2018, wala pa pong masyadong libro on the CMTA. So I decided in order to help my students, I prepared a book or a material, a reading material, a reference material to them. So naging notes and cases siya dati, notes and cases, first edition hanggang naging 6th edition. And then in 2022, after the bar exam, after na medyo may panahon na ako na i-improve yung material, so we changed the title and we came up with another reference material, which is now the Customs Modernization and Tariff Act. So that is available in Central Books because that's the publishing company. That's the publisher of the book that I prepared. Okay, let's proceed to the significant dates. Okay, first question. When was the CMTA passed? So I'll give you time to key in your answers in the chat box. When was the CMTA passed? Okay, that is correct. Alam nyo na yung sagot. The CMTA was passed in May 30, 2016. And that May 30, 2016 was the date when former President, the late President Benigno S. Aquino III signed the CMTA. So yung date po na naipasa yung batas ay yung araw po na pinirmahan ito ng Pangulo. Kasi ayon po sa ating Constitution, ayon po sa ating saligang batas, the bill becomes a law once the President affixes his or her signature in the bill. Okay? So yung araw na pinirmahan ng Pangulo, yan po yung araw na naipasa yung batas. So take note of that because that might be asked, di ba? Baka tanungin to sa CBLE ninyo at kayo lang yung hindi nakasagot. Lahat ng mga examinees nakasagot, kayo lang yung hindi. Kayo po yung kawawa. So when was the CMTA published? When was it published? Anong araw na i-published yung CMTA? Okay, very good. June 1, 2016. Saan siya na-published? Anong newspaper na i-publish yung CMTA? Correct, Manila Bulletin. It was published in Manila Bulletin. And why is the date of publication important? Bakit po tinatanong natin o bakit po natin dinidiscuss yung date of publication? Because according to the last section of the CMTA, ano yung last section ng CMTA? Very good. 1805 o yung tinatawag nating effectivity clause. Ang nasabi sa effectivity clause, the CMTA will take effect 15 days after its publication in the official gazette or in a newspaper of general circulation. Kaya importante po yung date of publication because we count the date 15 days po from the date of publication, we count 15 days and that is the date that the CMTA took effect. So counting 15 days from June 1, 2016, which was the date of publication, kailan naging effective yung CMTA? Correct. June 16, 2016. Ayon po sa effectivity clause. Bakit kailangan i-publish? Why do laws need to be published? Why is that so? Because of the due process requirement. Okay? Nandyan din yan sa Civil Code. Sabi doon, laws shall take effect after their publication. dapat nating i-publish para alam ng mga tao kung ano yung batas, para alam ng mga tao kung ano yung dapat gawin, alam ng mga tao ano yung bawal gawin, alam din ng mga tao ano yung ano yung corresponding, okay? Corresponding penalty if ever they commit a violation of the law. So yan po yung purpose kung bakit pinapublish natin yung ating mga batas. You're also correct with me, okay? To make people aware of the law. And correct po si Ralph, that is in consonant with the due process requirement of the Constitution. Okay. Kapag may ganito po na animation sa atin pong slide, that means there's a question, okay? There is a question that any one of you can answer. First question, what international commitment or a convention that requires the Philippines to pass the CMTA? What international convention or commitment required the Philippines to pass the CMTA? Okay, very good. At least kung tatanungin kayo nito sa board examination kung bakit naipasa yung CMTA, alam nyo na it was because of the revised Kyoto Convention. Correct. Next question. When was the CMTA passed into law? Of course, alam nyo na to, di ba? May 30, 2016. Okay, very good. Very good. Yun po mga nagpa-participate sa chat box natin. Sabi po nila, meron po kasing mga yung mga pumasa sa board examination na nag-attend ng ating mga lecture. Sabi nila, sir, alam nyo ba, pumasa ako sa board examination. Sabi ko, oh, congratulations. Anong ginawa mo? Sir, nag-attend po ako sa webinar ninyo, nag-attend po ako sa tutorial ninyo, at higit sa lahat, sumasagot po ako sa chat box kapag nagtatanong kayo sa inyong lecture. So, gawin niyo po yan. Baka naman po sa susunod na pagkakataon, kayo naman yung mag-message sa akin at sabihin niyo, sir, pumasa na po ako. Isa na po akong customs broker. So, Ryan, Gemaline, kung sino man sa inyo, Jake, ito si Jake, estudyante ko rin to. Kung sino man sa inyo yung nagpa-participate, that's a big chance for you to pass the CBLE. Okay? Yung natutulog lang dyan, matulog muna kayo, baka napagod kayong nagbasa ng CMTA kaninang madaling araw. So we move on to our discussion on the Bureau of Customs, the first agency that we will talk about this afternoon, the agency where I belong to, okay, the Bureau of Customs. If titingnan nyo yung logo ng Bureau of Customs, ang laking nakalagay, Department of Finance, Bureau of Customs. What does it mean? It means that the Bureau of Customs as an agency is part of a bigger department or of a bigger family. And that bigger family is the Department of Finance. Okay, so under ng Department of Finance. Together with other agencies such as the Bureau of Internal Revenue, yung tagasingil po ng ating mga internal revenue taxes, yung ating Bureau of the Treasury, at yung ating Bureau of Local Government Finance. So ito po yung mga kapamilya natin sa Department of Finance. So let's talk about the logo of the Bureau of Customs. Anong mga nakikita nyo dyan sa logo ng Bureau of Customs? Okay, sabi ni Daniela, may vessel, may airplane. Okay, very good. Vessel, airplane, yun lang ba yung nakikita nyo? Wala ba kang ibang structure na nakikita? May clouds, may sea lion, okay, may building. Very good, Owen, may building. So what does the building depict or portray? So according to the meaning, okay, the building represents the Port of Manila building. Yan po yung unang opisina ng Bureau of Customs sa Pilipinas. Okay? History, a little bit of history. Yung atin pong head ng yung Collector of Customs ng Port of Manila, ang tawag po sa kanya noon is Insular Collector of Customs. And the Insular Collector of Customs is the head of the entire bureau. So, collector ka na ng Manila, ikaw pa yung head ng buong bureau. So, equivalent siya to the present Commissioner of Customs. Sabi nyo kanina, my vessel and aircraft. Bakit my vessel, my aircraft? Because these two images symbolize the mandate of the Bureau of Customs on revenue collection, border protection, trade facilitation. Okay? So, anti-smuggling efforts against various customs fraud, that's part of the mandate of the Bureau of Customs. So, revenue collection, trade facilitation, border protection. May nagsabi kanina, merong sea lion. Bakit may sea lion? Because the sea lion represents the mythical creature that symbolizes the police authority, the power of the Bureau of Customs to protect the Philippine territory. Okay, so yan po yung ibig sabihin ng logo ng Bureau of Customs. Let's proceed to the organization of the Bureau of Customs. Question: who are the chief officials of the Bureau of Customs? And anyone tell me, who are the chief officials? Ano yung posisyon ng mga matataas na officials ng Bureau of Customs? Okay. May nagtanong pa, sagot niya, Commissioner, dalawang question mark. Okay, tama, you're all correct. Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner. According to Section 200, the chief officials of the Bureau of Customs are the Commissioner. The Commissioner is the head of the Bureau of Customs. And the Commissioner is assisted by the Deputy Commissioner. How many Deputy Commissioner? According to Section 200, at least 4, but not more than 6. So sa Tagalog pa, hindi bababa sa 4 at hindi rin lalagpas sa 6. So we have 4, but not more than 6 Deputy Commissioners. Okay, I'll show you later on the face, the name, and the mandate of each office or each Deputy Commissioner. Furthermore, Section 200 also states that the Commissioner shall be appointed by the President of the Philippines. Who appoints the Commissioner? The President of the Philippines. The Deputy Commissioners shall also be appointed by the President. And there's a requirement. Majority of the Deputy Commissioners shall come from the ranks of the Bureau of Customs. Anong ibig sabihin ng majority of the Deputy Commissioners shall come from the ranks of the Bureau? So, di ba, 4 hanggang 6. So, let's take the maximum, the highest number of Deputy Commissioners. So, 6. Ano yung majority ng 6? So, 6 divided by 2, it's 3 plus 1, 4. So, ibig sabihin, sa 6 na Deputy Commissioners, dapat 4 doon should come from the ranks of the Bureau. So, anong ibig sabihin ng from the ranks of the Bureau? Ibig sabihin, insider sila. Nasa loob na sila ng Bureau of Customs. Okay? Di ba na, meron nga sinasabi, rose from the ranks. Ibig sabihin, galing sa baba, tapos na-promote hanggang pumunta sa mataas na posisyon. So, yan yung from the ranks. Dapat within the Bureau of Customs. Why? Bakit kailangan na insider sa Bureau of Customs? Para at least alam na nila yung kalakaran sa loob ng aduana. Alam na nila kung ano yung mandato ng Bureau of Customs. Alam na nila kung ano yung mga gagawing. Okay? Ano yung mga problema sa loob ng customs? Ano yung pwedeng gawing solusyon sa problema sa loob ng customs? Okay? So, at least aware na sila. Hindi yung pupunta ka pa lang sa trabaho, mag-on the job training ka pa lang kasi hindi mo alam yung trabaho mo. So, at least yung 4 na Deputy Commissioners na yon, alam na nila yung gagawing trabaho kasi nandun na sila, nasa loob na sila ng Bureau of Customs. Pangalawang rason dyan na nakikita ko is para ma-continue yung reforms na nasimulan nung mga dati pang commissioner o yung mga dati pang nanilbihan sa Bureau of Customs. Like for example, yung isang commissioner, may maganda siyang programa. Pwede niyang sundin ng susunod na papalit kasi nga yung 4 na deputy commissioners, alam na nila yung ano yung mga magagandang programa ng dating, okay, ng mga dating naging hepe ng Bureau of Customs na pwedeng sundin. Okay? So, that's the reason why the law provides that at least majority of the deputy commissioners come from the ranks of the Bureau. Another reason na nakikita ko is para at least ma-uplift yung moral ng mga empleyado ng customs na meron palang career path na masusundan mo sa loob ng Bureau of Customs na kung ikaw ngayon ay inspector, kung ikaw ngayon ay COO1 lang, huwag kang mag-alala kasi dadating din ang araw na pwede kang maging deputy commissioner. Okay, merong tanong dito. Sasagot na ba kayo? Sasagutin nyo na ba bago yung tanong? Okay. Tulad ng mga estudyante ko, alam na nila kung anong tatanong ko, kaya handa na sila sa keyboard nila kung ano yung itatype na sagot. Okay, there's a question here. The President is considering his friend, Attorney A, to be the Commissioner of Customs. However, the Secretary of Finance wants Customs Broker E to be the Commissioner. Eventually, Attorney A got appointed. His appointment, however, was questioned because the Secretary of Finance did not recommend him. Question: is the appointment of Attorney A valid under the CMTA? Yes or no? And why? Bakit nyo nasabing yes? Bakit nyo nasabing no? Okay, marami na nagsabi ng yes. Bakit yes? Bakit no? Okay. The answer is yes. Why? Because under the CMTA, the appointment of the Commissioner of Customs is vested in the President. And the CMTA does not expressly require that the appointment, okay, does not expressly require that the appointment be made upon the recommendation of the Secretary of Finance. Okay? So you're all correct now. Ito yung atin pong Commissioner of Customs. The present Commissioner of Customs is Commissioner Bienvenido Rubio. Commissioner Rubio, prior to his appointment in February this year, February this year, was the Director of the Port Operations Service of the Bureau of Customs. So ibig sabihin, insider na po si Commissioner Rubio. In fact po, nagsimula si Commissioner Rubio as, I think, Customs Inspector, kaya yung pinakamababa po na posisyon sa Bureau of Customs. So he knows the mandate of the Bureau of Customs. He knows the ins and outs of the Bureau of Customs. Alam niya yung mga problema sa loob ng Customs at dala-dala niya rin yung mga solusyon sa mga problema na kinahaharap ng Bureau of Customs. So the Commissioner is responsible for the general administration and management of the Bureau of Customs. Assisting, di ba, sabi natin kanina may 4 na hindi lalagpas sa 6. So right now, under the present structure, we have 6 deputy commissioners. And this deputy commissioner assists the Commissioner of Customs in their own sphere. Okay? Merong saklaw na area yung atin pong mga deputy commissioner. Assisting the commissioner in the area of administration, finance, and management improvement services is the deputy commissioner for internal administration group. And the present occupant of the office is OIC Deputy Commissioner Michael Fermin. So the internal administration group assists the commissioner in the formulation of policies and in the setting up of the objectives relative to finance, administration, personnel, planning, and management of the Bureau of Customs. First, so that's the first group, okay? Internal administration group. There is another group. Which group is this? The Assessment and Operations Coordinating Group, presently headed by Attorney Vener Bakiran as Deputy Commissioner. So si Director Fermin po, kanina yung OIC DepCom natin is an insider kasi director po siya ng Administration Office bago naging OIC Deputy Commissioner. Ito naman si Attorney Vener Bakiran was previously District Collector po ng I think MICP. Okay, naging dating District Collector at dati na pong nasa legal service ng Bureau of Customs. So insider din po siya. So ilan na? Dalawa ng insider. So dalawa na yung Deputy Commissioner who came from the ranks of the Bureau of Customs. The AOCG is the group that assists the Commissioner in gathering and publishing values of commodities, the monitoring the implementation of the rules and regulations governing assessment, exports, warehousing, and other activities. So kung familiar po kayo doon sa IAS value, yung IAS, yung Imports Assessment Service, so ang AOCG po ay yung mother group ng Imports Assessment Service. So second Deputy Commissioner. The third Deputy Commissioner is Attorney Edward James De Buco, heading the Revenue Collection Monitoring Group. So prior to his appointment as Deputy Commissioner, Attorney De Buco is already with the Bureau of Customs. In fact, he used to be the Chief of the Law Division in the Port of Cebu. And then he also was assigned in the Port of Davao. So tatlo na po, okay? Tatlong Deputy Commissioner, insider sa Bureau of Customs. And the Revenue Collection Monitoring Group assists the Commissioner of Customs in accounting the revenues collected, administering legal requirements of the Bureau kasi yung legal service po is under RCMG, providing information and analysis on collection statistics and audits, liquidated entries, and bonds. So ilang Deputy Commissioners na nga tayo? Yung una, Internal Administration Group. Pangalawa, AOCG, Assessment and Operations Coordinating Group. Pangatlo, RCMG, Revenue Collection Monitoring Group. The fourth Deputy Commissioner is Deputy Commissioner Juvie Max Uy, heading the Intelligence Group. If I'm not mistaken, si DepCom Uy po ay dati na nasa, I think Philippine Navy. Okay, Philippine Navy. So dati siyang nasa Philippine Navy. And the role of the Intelligence Group is to gather intelligence information related to customs and economic activities. Yung atin pong Accounts Management Office, yung AMO, yun po yung office na in charge po sa registration of customs brokers and accreditation of importers and exporters. So in the future, when you become customs broker and you want to practice your profession and be practicing in the ports, in the various ports, you have to apply registration with the Accounts Management Office. And Accounts Management Office is under the Intelligence Group of the Bureau of Customs. Okay. Si DepCom po ay hindi insider kasi galing siya sa Philippine Navy. So, pang-ilan na to? Pang-ilan na si DepCom? Pang-apat na DepCom. Pang-ilang DepCom na tayo na insider? Tatlo na. Next DepCom is Attorney Teddy Sandy Raval. Okay, DepCom Raval is currently heading the Enforcement Group. And the Enforcement Group is the mother unit or the mother group of our Customs Police, yung ating pong Enforcement and Security Service Customs Police Division. So this group exercises police authority in all ports and takes charge of customs border control, port security, and communication. So si DepCom Raval po, bago siya naging DepCom, ay nasa loob na po siya ng Bureau of Customs. In fact, he used to be the chief of the Intellectual Property Rights Division. So, pang-ilang DepCom na si DepCom Raval? Pang-limang DepCom na siya. Pang-ilang DepCom na ba siya na insider ng customs? Pang-apat na. So have we satisfied the requirement of Section 200? Yes. Apat na po, at least majority of the current deputy commissioners are insiders of the Bureau of Customs. We move on to the sixth group. Okay, yung pang-anim po na deputy commissioner. Attorney Creden Balgomera, who is the OIC Deputy Commissioner on Management Information System and Technology Group or MISTG. Yung MISTG po, ito yung IT department ng Bureau of Customs. Okay, si DepCom Creden po bago siya naging OIC DepCom ay galing na po siya sa MISTG. Director po siya ng isang service ng MISTG. And he's also, I think, Deputy Collector of the Port of Manila and the Chief of the Human Resources Management Division prior to his present designation as OIC DepCom. Okay. Ilang groups na tayo? 6 na groups. And these are the groups mentioned in Section 200. Pero meron pa pong isang group na nasa loob ng Bureau of Customs. Alam niyo po ba kung anong group to? Okay, very good Alaya, very good Leandro, very good Daniela, PCAG or the Post Clearance Audit Group. Sir, wala naman yan sa Section 200. Oo po, wala po yan sa Section 200 pero nakasaad po siya sa Executive Order number 46 Series of 2017 which created the Post Clearance Audit Group of the Bureau of Customs. Ano naman yung role ng Post Clearance Audit Group? Ito po yung may mandate na mag-conduct ng Post Clearance Audit which is provided under Title 10 of the CMTA. And who is the present Assistant Commissioner? Ang title niya po hindi Deputy Commissioner kasi ang sabi po ng CMTA Section 200 apat o hindi lalagpas ng 6 na Deputy Commissioner. So siya po ay hindi po Deputy Commissioner. Ang title niya po ay Assistant Commissioner. And Assistant Commissioner Jet Maronilla used to be a district collector of I think MICP and POM bago po siya naging Assistant Commissioner. Okay? So yan po yung 6 na group, 7 groups under the Bureau of Customs. So if you want to check the entire organizational chart of the Bureau of Customs, you can check the website of the Bureau. So shown on your screen is the organizational chart of the Bureau of Customs. So ito yung sinabi ko sa inyo kanina, 7 groups, okay? And then under Internal Administration Group, yung Financial Management and Administration Office, okay, part dyan yung HR. So kung mag-a-apply kayo sa Bureau of Customs, nandyan yan sa Internal Administration Group. Okay, we move on to the functions of the Bureau of Customs. So, can any one of you mention at least one function of the Bureau of Customs? How many are we na ba? We are 271 in the Zoom meeting room. So can anyone tell me even one function of the Bureau of Customs? Okay. Kasi in what section of the CMTA can you find the functions of the Bureau of Customs? Very good. Section 202. Okay, Section 202 provides for the functions of the Bureau of Customs. And the primary function, the first, di ba naka-letter A yan hanggang letter J yata, di ba? Naka-enumerate yan. Ang pinakauna, yung first po na nakalagay sa Section 202 is the assessment and collection of customs revenues from imported goods and other dues, fees, charges, fines, and penalties accruing under the CMTA. So yung first po na mandato ng Bureau of Customs is to collect revenues. I'll show you later on po kung magkano yung collection target ng Bureau of Customs for the year 2023. Okay? Next function, simplification and harmonization of customs procedures to facilitate movement of goods in international trade. Di ba parang sounds familiar? Yes, it does sound familiar because that is primarily the commitment that we have in the revised Kyoto Convention para maging simpler, maging harmonized yung atin pong mga customs procedures. So that is now being done by the Bureau of Customs. And why are we doing this? In order to ensure trade facilitation. Para mas mabilis po na mailabas yung ating mga kargamento sa port, para mas mabilis pong makarating yung ating mga produkto doon po sa mga nangangailangan ng mga produktong ito. So for example, if we need to bring in materials para po mapadali yung pag-respond sa mga emergency situations, like for example ngayon ang alam ko Mindoro I think is experiencing rotational brownout because of the lack of or the insufficient power supply. So if kailangan po nating mag-import ng coal, for example, para mas matulungan yung pag-produce ng electricity, then that is part of the mandate of the Bureau of Customs na mas madali yung pag-release ng mga shipment para mas mabilis na maaksyonan yung mga kailangan na tulungan ng ating gobyerno. Third mandate is border control to prevent the entry of smuggled goods. We all know that under the CMTA, we have 4 types of goods, di ba? Meron tayong 4 na types of goods. Sige nga, i-chat nyo nga kung ano yung mga 4 na classification or types ng goods na meron tayo under the CMTA. What are the 4 types of goods that we have under the CMTA? Okay, correct. Free importable goods. Ito po yung free does not mean exempted from duties and taxes. Ang free lang po dito means wala pong kailangang isubmit na mga permits. Okay? Kung yung shipment naman po ay regulated, so that's what we call regulated goods. And under the CMTA, you can only import or bring in regulated goods if you have the corresponding permits. Can you tell me what is an example of a regulated product or a regulated commodity? Can you tell me? Okay, cosmetic products. Very good. A concrete example, cosmetic product. When I was still new at the Bureau of Customs, I was assigned in the PhilPost, yung atin po mga post office. So I was assigned as an examiner doon sa post office. At marami po sa mga dumadating na mga parcel post ay mga galing, mga padala po ng ating mga OFWs from abroad. One time, meron pong recipient, merong receiver doon na merong tinanggap na beauty products from abroad. Okay. So, hiningan ko siya ng permit from FDA, Food and Drug Administration, because beauty products are regulated by FDA. And when they exceed the minimum quantity allowed, then you have to secure a permit from the FDA. So, tinanong niya ako, Sir, bakit kailangan pa ng FDA permit? So, ang sagot ko, hindi ko siya sinagot na parang nag-lecture ako. Okay, sinagot ko siya ganito. Ma'am, bakit po pinadalhan kayo ng beauty product? Sabi niya, ay, syempre sir, para ma-maintain ko po yung kagandahan ko. Para lalo po akong gumanda. So, yun yung sagot niya. Ma'am, ang tanong ko naman sa kanya, Ma'am, how are you sure na yung produkto o yung pinadala sa inyo ay totoong magpapaganda sa inyo? Sigurado po ba kayo na yung lipstick na ginamit nyo ay magpapaganda ng lips nyo na parang lips ni Angelina Jolie? Sigurado po ba kayo na yung powder nyo, face powder nyo na gagamitin nyo ay magiging kasing ganda kayo ni Liza Soberano? How sure are you, ma'am? Sabi niya, napaisip tuloy siya. Oo nga, no? How sure ako na yung binili o yung pinadala ng kapatid ko sa abroad ay talagang makakapagpaganda sa akin. So, that's the time I told her, Ma'am, yan po yung rason bakit po kami humihingi ng permit galing sa FDA. Kasi po, hindi natin alam kung yung produkto na dumating sa Pilipinas ay talaga bang fit for human consumption, ay fit po na gamitin ninyo para gumanda. Kasi sa halip na pag-apply nyo ng lipstick, sa halip na magiging lips ni Angelina Jolie, baka po parang mas malaki pa yung lips nyo kaysa sa buong mukha nyo. Kasi nag-allergic kayo, na may allergic reaction kasi may harmful content po yung lipstick na ginamit nyo. Yung face powder na sa halip puputi kayo o magiging mas makinis yung mukha nyo, baka naman meron kayong reaction doon. Okay, may allergic reaction kasi may harmful content po yung face powder nyo. And who can determine, who is the best person to determine if may harmful content yung produkto ninyo? FDA. Kaya po kailangan ng permit ng FDA para at least alam natin na safe po siyang gamitin para sa inyo. Okay? So, that's how I answered her. So, ngayon, na-convince ko siya. Okay, na-convince ko and she was able to secure the permit from the Food and Drug Administration. Sir, paano po kung wala siyang permit? Of course, hindi pwedeng ma-release yung shipment niya because under Section 117 of the CMTA, regulated goods can only be imported, can only be released if there is the submission of the corresponding permit, clearance, or license from the regulatory agency. Okay. Yung pangatlo na classification ng goods ay yung prohibited goods. Ano yung prohibited goods? Bawal in whatever instance. Bawal in all cases. Okay. Ang pang-apat naman, yung restricted good. Generally bawal, pero pag may batas na nag-aalaw sa iyo, pwede. So yan yung restricted goods. Next. Prevention and suppression of smuggling and other customs fraud. So yung smuggling po ay nakadefine yan under Section 102. In fact, if you attend my webinars, if you watch my videos online in my YouTube channel, dinidiscuss ko po yung smuggling. May 3 pong acts sa smuggling. The first act is fraudulently importing the goods or bringing in the goods into the Philippines. So who can commit this act of smuggling? Kapag kayo po mismo yung importer. Pangalawa, yung act of assisting by selling, buying, transporting, disposing, or concealing the imported goods with knowledge that the goods were imported contrary to law or were fraudulently imported into the Philippines. So sino yung pwedeng maging liable sa second act? Kayo po bilang future customs broker. Pwede po kayong maging liable. Why? Hindi naman po, sasabihin nyo, sir, hindi naman kami yung nagdala sa Pilipinas. Totoo, hindi kayo nagdala. Pero nag-assist kayo. Paano kayo nag-assist? Doon sa transporting or clearing ng goods sa Bureau of Customs. So does it automatically make you liable? No, because the CMTA requires another element. What element is that? Sabi ko nga kanina, the mere assistance, the mere giving of assistance does not make you liable. There must be another element that must be present in order for you to be liable for smuggling if you are not the importer yourself. Very good, Stephanie. Full knowledge, but may dadagdag natin dyan. Full knowledge that the goods were imported contrary to law or were fraudulently imported. So dapat alam mo na yung goods na yan na nag-assist ka sa pagpalabas kay customs ay ipinasok na may violation ng ating CMTA. And the third act of smuggling is the fraudulent exportation of goods. So yung first 2 cases ay yung pagpapasok ng imported goods. Yung pangatlong act is yung pagpalabas ng mga goods from the Philippines. Next, facilitation and security of international trade and commerce through an informed compliance program. So ibig sabihin, yung atin pong mga importers, yung atin pong mga exporters, kapag nagtatransact sa Bureau of Customs, sumusunod po sa ating mga batas, sumusunod po sa proseso, sumusunod po sa procedures na nakasaad sa ating pong mga regulations. And how does customs ensure compliance by our stakeholders? meron po tayong mga privileges na binibigay sa kanila. For example, kung alam nyo po yung Super Green Lane, okay? Yung Super Green Lane program, isa po yung privilege o benefit na binibigay ng Bureau of Customs. Kanino po? Yung atin pong mga top 1,000 importers in terms of payment of duties and taxes of the prior years. So kapag kayo po ay nabilong sa top 1,000 importer, you can apply or you can be invited as part of the SGL program. And part of your benefit po ay bago pa po dumating yung shipment nyo, pwede na po kayong mag-file ng entry, pwede na po ninyong bayaran, para pagdating po, diretso-diretso, release agad from Bureau of Customs. Another program is the Authorized Economic Operator Program. I have a lecture video po on this, so you can watch in my Facebook page or in my YouTube channel. Okay, next. Okay, ito yung basis kanina bakit may eroplano at barko. Supervision and control over the entrance and clearance of vessels and aircrafts engage in foreign commerce. Noon, nung bago pa rin ako sa customs, may tumawag sa opisina namin. Nagtanong siya, "Sir, meron po akong shipment ng pagkain. Ano po yung requirement?" So ang sagot ko sa tanong niya ay tanong din, "Ma'am, saan galing po yung shipment ninyo?" Sabi niya, "Galing po Manila papuntang Cebu." So ang sagot ko, "Ma'am, pasensya na po, pero wala pong requirement na hihingin si customs galing sa inyo." Sabi niya, "Ha? Bakit, sir? Dahil ba naging mabait na kayo? O dahil ba ikaw yung sumagot sa akin?" Sabi ko, "Ma'am, hindi po. Wala po talagang requirement na hihingin si customs sa inyo dahil," sige nga, pwede bang sumagot yung atin pong mga participants? Bakit sa tingin nyo ang sagot ko ay walang hihinging requirements si customs sa kanya? Very good, Jessie. Very good, Mary Ann. Very good. Very good. Because local shipment po siya. At ang jurisdiction lang po ni Bureau of Customs ay kapag importation at exportation. So ito po yung nakasaad dyan. Supervision and control where the entrance and clearance of vessels and crafts engage in foreign commerce. Next, supervision and control over the handling of foreign mails arriving in the Philippines for the purpose of collecting revenues and preventing the entry of contrabands. So bakit po meron tayong examiner na ka-assign sa PhilPost? Because of this mandate. So when I was new in the Bureau of Customs, I was assigned in the field. I was assigned as a customs examiner in the post office because of this mandate to protect our revenues, to protect and ensure that no contrabands can be imported or can be allowed to be brought in the Philippines. Kaya nandun yung Bureau of Customs. Next, supervision and control on all import and export cargoes landed or stored in piers, airports, terminal facilities, including container yards and freight stations for the purpose of protecting government revenue and preventing the entry of contraband. So sounds familiar, di ba? Pareho sila ng basis or ng reason under letter G. And the primary reason is government revenue and border protection. Next, conduct a compensation study with the end view of developing and recommending to the President a competitive compensation and remuneration system to attract and retain highly qualified personnel. So ito po medyo na out of the topic po siya. Di ba parang kanina parang namang may relevance sa importation. Bakit ito wala? So ang ibig lang po sabihin nito, dapat po ang Bureau of Customs gumawa ng proposal na yung sahod po namin sa Bureau of Customs ay maging competitive. Lakihan po yung sahod para po yung mga magagaling na empleyado ay manatili sa Bureau of Customs para po ma-lessen yung tendency of giving into corruption. Okay, yan po yung ibig sabihin niyan. Exercise exclusive original jurisdiction over forfeiture cases under the CMTA. Pag sinabi po nating jurisdiction, ano po yung ibig sabihin yan? Can anyone tell me what is jurisdiction? Yun pong mga naka-attend na po ng ating mga lectures previously. Dinidiscuss ko po yung ano po yung ibig sabihin ng jurisdiction. What does jurisdiction mean? Okay? Jurisdiction means the power. Okay, the power or the authority of an administrative office or of an administrative body or of a court to take a case, di ba? To take the case, to hear the case, to decide the case, and enforce its decision. Yan po yung ibig sabihin ng jurisdiction. Ano naman yung ibig sabihin ng exclusive? Ibig sabihin po ng exclusive, like for example, A is exclusively dating B. Ano pong ibig sabihin nun? Ibig sabihin, walang ibang kadate si A kundi si B. Wala ding ibang kadate si B kundi si A. So pag exclusive, siya lang. Okay? Siya lang. Pag original naman po, yun pong sa una, sa simula. Okay? So pag sasamahin natin yung original, yung exclusive, tsaka jurisdiction, ibig sabihin, si customs lang ang merong kapangyarihan na humawak ng forfeiture cases. Okay? Sa simula. Nung nagsimula pa po yung kaso. So, siya po yung unang pwedeng humawak at siya lang po ang pwedeng humawak ng mga forfeiture cases. In fact, this is the doctrine of exclusive jurisdiction of the Bureau of Customs. The court po, no other court, no other office in the government that can take cognizance of forfeiture cases of forfeiture of goods other than the Bureau of Customs. Meron na po mga cases na decided ang Supreme Court na hindi pwedeng mag-interfere yung mga regular courts sa Bureau of Customs when it comes to forfeiture cases. Ano? Example po. May example po ba kayo, sir? Yes, meron. Ganito. Yung merong isang kaso na yung Bureau of Customs, okay, kasama ng mga pulis ay nag-search ng mga sasakyan. Tapos may nakita yung mga sasakyan. And then kinonfiscate ni Customs, sinis ni Customs. Ang ginawa nung may-ari, pumunta siya sa korte. Nag-file siya ng rep live-in suit at ng temporary restraining order. Ano ba yung rep live-in? Yung rep live-in ay isang remedy na binibigay ng batas sa isang tao na pwede niyang i-recover or kunin ulit yung kanyang personal property which was illegally or unlawfully taken from him. So 'di ba, sa example natin kanina, yung mga sasakyan kinuha ni Customs, okay? So ang gusto ni importer, hindi naman niya pwedeng sugurin doon yung Customs kasi may mga baril yung Customs police, siya wala, 'di ba? So kung mamimilit siya, may kalalagyan siya. So hindi niya yun pwedeng gawin. So ginawa, pumunta siya sa korte. Nag-request siya, nag-file siya ng rep live-in suit para kunin yung kanyang sasakyan. So yung korte, yung regional court, nag-issue ng grinant yung kanyang rep live-in suit at inallow at grinant din yung temporary restraining order. So ibig sabihin, yung temporary restraining order, pinahihinto ng korte yung Bureau of Customs sa kanyang gagawin doon sa mga sasakyan. So, yan yung nangyari. Ang ginawa ni Customs, nag-question siya, okay? Nag-question siya doon sa decision ng RTC sa Court of Tax Appeals hanggang umabot sa Supreme Court. Ang sabi ng Customs, ayon po sa batas, wala pa pong CMTA nung time na yon, TCCP pa lang. Ayon po sa TCCP, ang Bureau of Customs po, merong original exclusive jurisdiction over forfeiture cases. Ibig sabihin, hindi po pwedeng makialam yung korte sa Bureau of Customs kapag po forfeiture ang pinag-uusapan. Sabi ng Supreme Court, tama si Bureau of Customs. Mali ang ginawa ng Regional Trial Court. Sabi pa nga ni Bureau of Customs, sabi pa nga ng Supreme Court, ang dapat daw gawin ni importer kapag yung goods niya, yung imported goods niya ay na-seize ni Customs, ay mag-participate sa seizure proceeding. Sumagot sa, you're given the chance, kaya nga may WSD, because that is in compliance with the due process requirement. you will be notified that your goods are being seized by customs because of certain violation. Malalaman mo kung ano yung violation mo. And you can respond kasi nga from taking into custody of the goods, merong specific period of time that the district collector will hear the case. And when the district collector conducts the hearing of the case, you participate. Yan yung sabi ng Supreme Court. Mag-participate ka, importer. At kapag natalo ka sa level ni collector of customs, ni district collector, huwag ka munang pumunta sa RTC. Ang gagawin mo, pumunta ka, umakyat ka kay Commissioner of Customs by way of appeal. And kapag natalo ka kay Commissioner of Customs, yan pa lang yung oras o yung panahon na pupunta ka na sa korte. At hindi lang RTC yung pupuntahan mo, hindi RTC. Anong korte yung pupuntahan nyo? Sige nga, can anyone chat? Kung anong korte yung pupuntahan nyo kapag natalo kayo sa level ni Commissioner of Customs? Anong korte? Tama, Court of Tax Appeals, yung CTA. Okay? So you elevate the decision, you make an appeal. Ano yung mode of appeal? Ano yung mode of appeal? Anong tawag doon sa mode of appeal? Sige nga, yung mga estudyante ko, anong tawag sa mode of appeal? Ano yung mode ng appeal? Petition, anong title ng petition? Petition to open the subject kasi maraming babagsak na estudyante sa second sem. Yan ba yung petition? Petition to open the subject. Okay? The petition is, anong petition yun? Ang tagal naman ng sagot. Okay? Siguro, binubuksan nyo pa yung mga aklat nyo. Okay, the petition is petition for review via certiorari under Rule 42 of the Rules of Court. Yan po yung mode of appeal, petition for review via certiorari. So punta ka ng Court of Tax Appeals. And lastly, hanggang letter K pala. Okay, letter K. Enforcement of the CMTA and all other laws, rules, and regulations related to customs administration. Okay? Yan po yung functions ng Bureau of Customs. So we move on to the functions of the Commissioner of Customs. So may powers ba si Commissioner of Customs? Anong power ni Commissioner of Customs? Sige nga, anong section sa CMTA nyo mamabasa yung powers ni Commissioner of Customs? Kayo sir, may power ba kayo? Yes, meron akong power. Kili-kili power. Sige, what type of power? Ano ba yung powers ni Commissioner of Customs? Saan nyo mababasa yung power ni Commissioner of Customs? Okay, Section 201. Tama. Under Section 201. Yung mode of appeal po kanina is petition for review under Rule 42 of the CMTA. Okay. Section 201 provides for the powers and functions of the Commissioner of Customs. Letter A, exclusive and original jurisdiction. Sounds familiar, di ba? So at least alam nyo na yung exclusive, siya lang, original, siya yung pinakauna. Okay? Na may authority na i-interpret yung provisions of the CMTA in collaboration with other relevant government agencies subject to review by the Secretary of Finance. Ibig sabihin nito, kapag merong issue sa interpretation ng CMTA, ang una pong magde-decide o magre-resolve ng issue na yan ay si Commissioner of Customs. Exercise any customs power, duties, and functions directly or indirectly. Next, review any action or decision of any customs officer performed pursuant to the provisions of this act. Kaya nga, yung decision ni District Collector pwedeng umakyat kay Commissioner of Customs because of the power to review. Review and decide disputed assessments and other matters related thereto, subject to review by the Secretary of Finance and exclusive appellate jurisdiction of the Court of Tax Appeals. So may mga issues na pwedeng umakyat kay Secretary of Finance. For example, anong example niyan? Kapag yung district collector nag-decide in favor of the taxpayer or kay importer, that is a decision adverse to the government. So merong automatic review, aakyat kay Commissioner of Customs. Okay, kapag si Commissioner of Customs naman nag-decide pareho din, aakyat kay Secretary of Finance. Yung automatic review. Okay? So if you want to know more of those things, then I suggest you read the CMTA or you join our future lecture or our tutorial program, yung atin pong Customs Law Enrichment course. And then, delegate the powers vested under this act. Ibig sabihin, yung mga powers po na pwedeng gawin ni Commissioner, pwede niyang i-delegate, pwede niyang ipa-assign doon sa isang customs officer. Ano yung requirement? With a rank equivalent to division chief or higher. So pwede dito yung mga division chief, yung mga district collector, yung mga deputy commissioners. Pwede niya, except the following. So ito yung mga hindi niya pwedeng i-delegate. Promulgation of rules and regulations, so yung gumawa ng customs administrative order, customs memorandum orders, issuance, revocation, or modification of rulings. Ibig sabihin ito yung mga advance ruling, yung mga ruling on customs valuation, ruling on rules of origin, compromise or abatement of customs obligations. So kapag meron kang babayaran pero nag-request ka na paliitin, so it's up to the Commissioner of Customs. It's part of his mandate. Okay, ito, assignment or reassignment of any customs officer subject to the approval of the Secretary of Finance. So ibig sabihin nito, kapag merong i-assign, okay? Kapag merong i-assign na customs officer from one port to another, ang pwedeng gumawa niyan si Commissioner of Customs, subject to the approval of the Secretary of Finance, provided that district collectors and other customs officers performing assessment functions shall not remain in the same area of assignment for more than 3 years. Ibig sabihin, magro-rotate. Hindi ka pwedeng, kung magstay ka, for example, if you're the district collector, you have a maximum of 3 years in that particular port. So after 3 years, ililipat ka na naman. Kapag ikaw ay examiner, meron ka lang 3 taon sa specific port. Pagkatapos ng 3 taon, ililipat ka na naman. Why? In order to prevent familiarity. Kasi kapag so much familiarity, baka naman lahat na lang ay pagbigyan kahit hindi na tama o hindi na naaayon sa batas. Okay, to avoid familiarity. Correct, Sweetney. Okay, to avoid familiarity. Pero ikaw kung nasa admin ka, hindi ka naman nagpe-perform ng ng assessment function, ligtas ka sa rotation. So kaya 7 taon na rin kami sa Cebu, nandyan pa rin kasi nga we are not fully performing assessment functions. Okay? Pero kapag naging district collector ka, it comes with a job. Okay? Kapag district collector ka, handa ka na anytime pwede kang ilipat, pwede kang i-assign ni Commissioner of Customs. And that is true in the Bureau of Customs. Merong ibang district collector, 1 buwan, 2 buwan, 3 buwan lang sa isang port. After 3 months, lipat na naman. Especially those who do not perform well in the collection. Yan yung mga policy ng mga dati pang commissioner. Meron ng dating commissioner, 1 strike policy. Ibig sabihin kapag 1 buwan na hindi ka nakapag-hit ng target mo, ililipat ka. Okay, ililipat ka. And perform other duties and functions as may be necessary. Okay? Yan po yung mga powers ni Commissioner of Customs. So there's a question here. Ano yung tanong? Okay. Due to his busy schedule, the Commissioner delegated the power to approve the leave applications of customs employees to the Deputy Commissioner. Is that allowed? Pwede ba na yung pag-approve ng mga leave, ibibigay na ni Commissioner kay Deputy Commissioner? Sabi niya, ang dami namang nagli-leave sa Bureau of Customs, ang daming nagsisick leave. Nauubos yung oras ni Commissioner. Sa halip na matutukan niya yung mga decisions, sa halip na matutukan niya yung mga collection targets, naubos yung panahon niya, taga-pirma lang ng mga application for leave. So ang sabi ni Commissioner, ibigay ko nga yan kay Deputy Commissioner ng Internal Administration Group. Can that be done? Yes or no? What do you think? Why? Why yes? Why no? Okay, why yes? Why no? Okay, sabi nila dito, yes, because pwede. Okay, tama. Yes. Under the CMTA, the commissioner may delegate certain powers except, okay, lahat ng powers pwede niyang i-delegate except the promulgation of rules and regulations, the issuance, revocation of rulings, and compromise or abatement of customs obligations. So, lagi niyong tatandaan yung tatlo kasi baka lumabas sa board examination yan at naitanong kung ano yung tatlong hindi pwedeng i-delegate ni Commissioner o baka may situational problem at yung na-delegate ay isa sa tatlo. So, bawal. Okay? Bawal. General rule, pwedeng i-delegate kahit ano except yung tatlo. So, take note of the three. Okay? Take note of the three. Okay. What are another power of the Commissioner is the power to issue rules and regulations. Ito yung rule-making power ni Commissioner of Customs. So the Commissioner, subject to the approval of the Secretary of Finance, shall promulgate rules and regulations for the enforcement of the CMTA. Can anyone tell me ano yung mga document, ano yung tawag doon sa mga rules and regulations na ini-issue ng Bureau of Customs? Anong tawag doon? Okay, CAOs. CAOs, CMO. Ano yung kaibahan ng CMO tsaka ng CAO? Yung CAO po, yung Customs Administrative Order, pirmado po yan ng dalawang tao. Sino? Una, si Commissioner of Customs. Pangalawa, si Secretary of Finance. Yung CMO po, ang pumipirma lang yan, isa lang, si Commissioner of Customs. Kaya meron nagtanong sa akin, Sir, paano kung may conflict between a Customs Administrative Order and a Customs Memorandum Order? Ano yung susundin? Ano yung susundin, sir? Ang sagot ko, Customs Administrative Order will prevail. Why? Bakit, sir? Kasi nga, under Section 204, yung rules and regulations na ini-issue ni Commissioner of Customs must be approved by the Secretary of Finance. Now, between the CAO and the CMO, alin yung approved ni Secretary of Finance? Si Customs Administrative Order. So, si Customs Administrative Order complies with Section 204 and should prevail over the CMO. Sir, what if yung CAO tsaka yung CMO ay conflict sa CMTA? Sino yung magpiprevail, sir? Yung CAO, yung CMO, or yung CMTA? Very good, Sweetney. Very good, Cristel. The CMTA will prevail. Why? Because the CMTA is the law. Okay? Sabi nga sa Section 204, promulgate rules and regulations to enforce the CMTA. Ibig sabihin, kung ano yung CMTA, yun yung dapat sundin. Hindi pwedeng lagpasan ng CAO, hindi din pwedeng bawasan ng CAO. For example, kanina, di ba sabi ng CMTA, yung tatlong bagay na yun, hindi pwedeng i-delegate ni Commissioner. Paano kung nag-issue ng CAO na yung tatlo pwede nang i-delegate ni Commissioner? Pwede ba yun? Sino yung mapiprevail? Yung CAO or yung CMTA? Of course, the CMTA. Kasi nga, batas siya. Batas siya. Okay? Under our constitutional structure of government, under sa structure of government natin, the power to make laws is vested with the legislative branch. Sino yung legislative branch? Congress. Sino yung Congress natin? Senate of the Philippines and House of Representatives. Commissioner of Customs is not part of legislative. Aling part siya? Executive. Ano yung trabaho ng executive? Kaya nga, si Commissioner appointed ni Presidente kasi si Presidente ang may executive power. Ano yung power ng executive? Tagapagpatupad ng batas. Okay? To execute the laws. Sabi nga sa Constitution, the President has the power or has the mandate to effectively enforce and faithfully enforce the law. So yan yung trabaho ng Pangulo, tagapagpatupad ng mga batas. So si Commissioner bilang appointee ni Pangulo, ang trabaho niya tagapagpatupad ng CMTA. So kapag sinabi ng CMTA na ganito, dapat ganun. Pag sinabi ng CMTA bawal yung tatlo na i-delegate mo, hindi mo pwedeng i-delegate yan kasi nga bawal sa CMTA. Tama, Daniela, the spring cannot rise above the source. Okay? That's correct. Sounds like a lawyer. Very good, Daniela. Okay, that's how the Supreme Court describes the spring cannot rise above the source. Hindi pwedeng sumobra ka pa doon sa source mo. If the law says, ito lang, hindi ka pwedeng lumagpas doon sa sinasabi ng batas. Okay, let's proceed to the customs districts. Okay, customs district naman tayo. Kanta nga ng isang noontime show, di ba? Mula Apari hanggang Hulo. Di ba? Mula Apari hanggang Hulo. Ganyan po ilalarawan natin yung Bureau of Customs. Section 206 provides for the structure of the customs district. Sabi dyan, for administrative purposes, the Philippines shall be divided into as many customs districts as necessary, the respective limits of which may be changed from time to time by the commissioner with the approval of the Secretary of Finance. So, ang laki ng Pilipinas, di ba? How many islands do we have? How many islands do we have? Sabi ng isang contestant, high tide or low tide? Oo nga, no? Kasi kapag high tide, mas mataas yung dagat, merong mga isla na hindi nakikita. Kapag naman low tide, mas marami yung nakikita. Kaya nung tinanong siya, ang sagot niya, high tide or low tide? Okay. So dahil sa dami ng isla ng Pilipinas, dahil sa lawak ng Pilipinas, dapat may proseso tayo, dapat i-manage natin ng maayos yung ating mga pantalan. Kaya meron tayong groupings na tinatawag. Ang tawag ng ating groupings, districts. And each customs district, ang head po ng bawat district port, customs district, is the district collector. Kaya dyan galing yung pangalang district collector. May nagtanong sa akin, sir, pareho lang ba yung district collector tsaka district officer? May nagtanong sa akin ng ganyan. Ang sagot ko, pareho lang yan. They refer to one and the same person. Why? Di ba sabi ko kanina, bago naging CMTA, may CTMA pa, yung Customs and Tariff Modernization Act, at meron pang 10 versions ng ganyan. Alam niyo po ba, bago yung CMTA, sa CTMA, ang tawag sa district collector, district officer? Hindi siya district collector, district officer yung tawag. Pero syempre, kapag nakasanayan na ng mga tao district collector, tapos sinabing district officer, parang it might create confusion, di ba? Parang sino na naman to? Iba pa ba to? May iba pa bang ganito? So para to retain, okay, to retain the practice of naming the head of the port as district collector, hindi sinunod yung district officer, but binalik sa district collector. And the district collector is assisted into as many as deputy district collectors as may be necessary. Kapag port po, may 3 deputy commissioner, deputy collector. 1 for administration, 1 for operations, and 1 for assessment. At kapag yung district port po ay airport lang, okay, airport lang, or may airport siya, meron pong district collector for pang-4, passenger service. For example, yung NAIA po, yung NAIA, 4 po yung deputy district collector dyan. Deputy district collector for admin, deputy district collector for operations, deputy district collector for assessment, and deputy district collector for passenger service. Clark, airport lang siya, wala siyang seaport. Ganon din, 4 sila na deputy district collector. Now, ano yung mga collection districts? Ito yung sabi ko, mula Apari hanggang Hulo. Kasi meron tayong district port of Apari, meron din po tayong subport of Hulo-Sulu. We have 17 district ports all over the Philippines, customs districts, 17. Now, I want you to familiarize yourself with the 17 district ports. Why? Lagi po yung tinatanong sa CBLE. 2 o 3 questions po tungkol sa district port. Anong district port? Si Port of San Fernando. Collection District 1 or Customs District 1. Di ba? Anong port? Anong district? Collection District? Si Port of Limay. Customs District 16. Sir, bakit 16? Bakit Customs District 16 si Limay pang number 17 siya? Kasi nga, dalawa po yung nagsishare ng Customs District 2. Meron po tayong Customs District 2A na Port of Manila at Customs District 2B na MICP. Okay? Now, recently, the Bureau of Customs made a map showing the various principal ports, yung collection district, and the subports. Okay, I shared this in my Facebook page. Ito yung bagong binigay na mapa ng Bureau of Customs. So meron na po diyang district at yung mismong subports. At least hindi na po kayong mahirapan pang maghanap ng atin pong mga subports at collection districts kasi meron ng map na ibinigay si Bureau of Customs. Okay? Okay. Kanina sabi ko sa inyo, I'll share to you the target of the Bureau of Customs. So for 2023, ang target po ni Bureau of Customs ay 1.1 trillion pesos. Ito po yung pinakamalaki. Umabot na po ng trillion. Dati 100 million lang. Ngayon for this year, 1.1 trillion pesos. Sige. Can anyone tell me ano yung pinaka-number one, pinaka-unang port in terms of revenue collection target? Sige, key in your answer in the chat box. Okay. Very good. MICP. Tama. MICP accounts. Sorry ha, napakaliit lang to. I hope you're viewing it on a PC or a laptop para makita niyo yung figures. Kung cellphone lang, napakaliit. But don't worry, my lecture po will be posted in my YouTube channel. So pwede niyo pong panoorin siya after this lecture. Makita niyo po yung video ko, yung lecture na to. So MICP is the number one port in terms of revenue collection target. Ang target niya po in 1 year for this year is 282 billion pesos. And that represents 26% of the entire 1.1 trillion. MICP stands for Manila International Container Port. That is Customs District number 2B. Anong susunod? Okay, yung yearly niya, 282.264 billion. So monthly niya, if we have 22 working days, so that's 23.522 billion daily. Okay, daily. Monthly. And then, 282 divided by 12 months, so that's monthly. 23 divided by 22 days, kasi meron 22 working days. So, one day ni MICP, 1 billion pesos. Imagine, one day lang, 1 billion pesos. And in one day, since we have 8 working hours, assuming 8 working hours, that would give us an hourly rate of 133 million pesos. 133 million pesos. Susunod, anong susunod? Ano sa tingin nyo susunod ng MICP? Sagot nyo, POM. Okay? Wala bang ibang sagot? POM lang ba? Hoy, Cebu, very good si Dame. Okay, very good. May bonus ka na kasi Cebu yung pinili mong pangalawa. Merong sumagot na iya. Okay, let's see. What's the second port? Batangas. Port of Batangas. Port of Batangas has a target for this year of 258 billion pesos. And that is 24% of the entire Bureau collection target. So yung 1 month niya, 21 billion. Yung daily niya, 977 million. Yung hour niya, 122 million. Ano sa tingin nyo yung susunod sa Batangas? Naiya na. POM na. Okay, the answer is Limay. Port of Limay, 14%. 153 billion pesos a year, 12 billion per month, 583 million daily, and 72 hourly. Next, Manila. Okay? Next, ano sa tingin nyo? Next, Manila. Anong after Manila? Naiya. Subic, correct. Next ng Subic, Cebu. Next ng Cebu, Davao. After Davao, NAIA. After NAIA, CDO. San Fernando, idediretso ko na ha. San Fernando, Zamboanga, Tacloban, Iloilo, Clark, Apari. And what do you think is the number 16 and 17? Okay? Number 16 is Legazpi and number 17 is Surigao. Okay. What do you observe? What do you observe on your screen? Okay, tingnan natin ha. Ano yung monthly ni Surigao? 71 million pesos. 1 month, 1 year, I'm sorry, 1 year. Ang 1 year ni Surigao na 71 million pesos, 1 hour lang yan ni Port of Limay. Wow! Ang 1 year ni Surigao, tapos na ng 1 hour ni Limay. What else? Kung i-combine mo yung Tacloban, Iloilo, Clark, Apari, Legazpi at Surigao na 1 year, ha? 1 year nila, i-combine mo. 1 month lang yan ni MICP. Wow! Okay? What else? Kung isusumahin mo yung 4 na ports na nasa Manila, MICP, Luzon, MICP, Batangas, Limay, and Manila, that is already 65% of the entire Bureau's target. Okay? Ano, not 65, 76%. So pasang-awa na yan. Pag nakuha ni MICP, Batangas, Limay, at Manila, pasang-awa na yung buong Bureau of Customs. Okay? So that is the collection target of the entire Bureau and the 17 customs districts. I'm done with the Bureau of Customs. We proceed with the Tariff Commission. Okay, Tariff Commission. Ito yung logo ng Tariff Commission. Kanina, yung sa Bureau of Customs, may nakalagay Department of Finance. Sa Tariff Commission, walang nakalagay, di ba? Republic of the Philippines lang. Pero Tariff Commission is also under a separate agency. Okay, a mother department. What do you think is the mother department or mother agency of Tariff Commission? Because that was asked in our CBLE sa time ko, sa tariff law, that was asked, what is the mother agency of the Tariff Commission? And the answer is, okay, National Economic and Development Authority, NEDA. Okay? Sinong kasama ni NEDA, sinong kasama ni Tariff Commission kay NEDA? Kasama niya dyan ang kapatid niya, si Philippine Statistics Authority. Okay. For a while lang, class, let us just pause for 1 minute lang, sandali lang. Okay, we're back. So, Tariff Commission is part of NEDA. And together with NEDA is the Philippine Statistics Authority. Marami pa yung other government agencies under NEDA. Pero ito lang yung dalawang sikat. Okay, yung PSA. Kasi kung gusto nyong, kapag may nanganak, PSA. Kapag kailangan nyo ng birth certificate nyo for board examination, PSA. Okay, so, ano naman yung napapansin nyo sa logo ng Tariff Commission? Okay, anong nakikita nyo? Okay. Sige nga, patingin niya ano yung nakikita nyo. Okay, may factory, may rice stock. So may meaning yan, okay? May meaning yan. Yung nakikita nyo dito na may parang gulong, okay, na may parang may pakpak. Okay? The wheel with a wing, which is the uppermost picture of the design, is symbolic of or the movement which depicts progress, delivery, or conveyance. The Commission enjoys a crucial partnership with the domestic industries towards the growth, the common goal of attaining progress through sustainable growth and development. The wheel of progress is depicted as winged, symbolizing not only how fast progress is, but how also expeditious the Tariff Commission in the performance of its mandate. Okay, ano pa? Okay, ano pa? Next is the rice stalk. Okay, what does the rice stalk provide? It represents the agricultural sector. And then the factory with the smoke, yung industrial sector. Why? Because the main functions of the Tariff Commission as mandated under the CMTA are all geared towards the development and efficiency of our local industries. The sphere of activities of the Tariff Commission reaches both to the agricultural sector as represented by the rice stalks and the industrial sector as represented by the factory with the smoke. At ano pa yung huli nyo nakikita? Okay, merong dragon. Okay, sabi dito, in mythology, this is a composite winged beast, generally said to have a lion's claws, eagle's wings, and a serpent's tail. So that's a dragon. And this dragon, okay, symbolizes the hopes and the aspiration of the nation through meaningful tariff and trade reforms. And lastly, yung 6 na dots or 6 na circles, they represent the 6 industry groupings. Okay, so that's the logo of the Tariff Commission. Now, if the Bureau of Customs has its chief officials, then the Tariff Commission also has its chief officials. Sige nga, sino yung chief officials ng Tariff Commission? Sige, who are the chief officials of the Tariff Commission? Very good, very good. Ang galing-galing ng mga estudyante natin ngayon. Kung magtitake ito ng board exam, sigurado ako, top-notchers. We have provided under Section 1600, 1 chairperson and 2 commissioners. Just like the Commissioner of Customs kanina, the chairperson and 2 commissioners are appointed by the President of the Philippines. Sir, bakit 2 commissioner lang yung Sir, bakit isang commissioner lang yung customs tapos sa Tariff Commission 2? Hindi ko alam. Bakit ganun? Bakit chairperson or bakit 2 commissioner sila? So 3 lang sila, di ba? Unlike sa Bureau of Customs, 7 sila. 6 na DepCom, 1 commissioner. Now, merong mga qualifications ang nakalagay sa Tariff Commission. Sa Bureau of Customs, walang qualification. Anyone that the President feels to be appointed, and anyone that the President feels competent to the job can be appointed as Commissioner of Customs, as Deputy Commissioner of Customs. But under the CMTA, for the Tariff Commission, there are certain qualifications. Ang sabi dito, they must be natural-born citizens of the Philippines. Ano tong natural-born? Meron bang artificial-born, sir? Natural-born, artificial-born? Natural-born, sir, kapag natural act, okay? Natural sexual act. Artificial born, sir, kapag artificial insemination. Ganun ba? Is that what natural born means? Okay, is that what natural born means? It's like this, explain ko sa inyo. Under the Philippine Constitution, ang ating citizenship is by birth. Okay? Meron kasi tinatawag na principle of ius sanguinis and principle of ius soli. Pag sinabi nating ius sanguinis, citizenship is derived by blood. Okay, by blood relation. Kung yung tatay mo ay isang citizen ng isang bansa, then you're also a citizen of that country. That is ius sanguinis by blood relation. Yung ius soli naman is by place of birth. So ibig sabihin kapag yung tatay mo kahit hindi siya citizen ng bansang yan, pero dun ka ipinanganak, then you're also a citizen of that country. Ano yung applicable na ius soli? US, United States of America, you solely. Kahit hindi ka Amerikano yung tatay mo, Amerikano yung nanay mo, pero kapag doon ka sa Amerika na ipinanganak, if you're born in the US, then you are an American citizen. Sa Pilipinas po, according to our Constitution, citizenship is by blood relation. Why? Under the Constitution, a person is a Filipino citizen if the mother or the father is a Filipino citizen. Okay. Now, kapag sinabi nating natural born, wala kang ginawa para maging citizen. Yung ginawa mo lang is yung tatay at nanay mo naging Pilipino. Yun lang yung ginawa mo. Okay? Pilipino yung tatay at nanay mo. You are a natural born citizen. Pero meron din tayong citizen na hindi lang dahil wala silang ginawa. Okay? Naging Filipino sila dahil meron silang ginawa. Okay? That is what we call naturalization. Nag-apply sila bilang citizen ng Pilipinas. Dahil ang nanay nila or ang tatay nila hindi Pilipino, so hindi din sila Pilipino. Pero gusto nilang maging Pilipino. So, they applied for citizenship, and that is naturalization. Pwedeng administrative, pwedeng may process yan, pwede din yung mismong Congress yung magbigay sa inyo ng citizenship. So when we say natural born citizen, dapat hindi ka naturalize, hindi ka nag-apply for citizenship. You are a Filipino because your father and your mother is a Filipino citizen. Either hindi required both the father and the mother. Either ang father mo Filipino or ang mother mo Filipino. Okay? Next, good moral character. So, subjective naman yung good moral character. Ang pwede natin gawin dito lang, ma-detect is, mapakita mo na you possess good moral character if you are not convicted of a crime involving moral turpitude. Examples of crime involving moral turpitude, robbery, corruption, smuggling, okay, bigamy, yung dalawa, yung nagpakasal ka ng more than one time, okay, that's bigamy, adultery, concubinage, murder, yung pumatay ka ng tao na merong covered yung merong special circumstances, aggravating circumstances, okay, may mga ginawa ka, so that would make the crime into murder. So that's example of a crime involving moral turpitude. Yung nagsinungaling ka, so perjury. Okay, if you're convicted of perjury, then you are considered to have been convicted of a crime involving moral turpitude. So you do not anymore possess good moral character. And then of proven integrity, and who, by experience and academic training, possesses the necessary qualifications in order to develop expert knowledge on tariff and trade-related matters. So kapag customs broker ka ba, do you possess the academic training? Yes, because you know tariff law. Okay, or if you're a graduate of BS Customs Administration, then it can be said that you have adequate training, academic training to develop knowledge on tariff law. Okay, so take note of the requirements. Not anyone can be appointed as chairperson or as commissioner because you have to meet these qualifications. Meron ding restrictions. Ano yung restrictions? Kanina sa Bureau of Customs, walang restriction, di ba, na nakalagay? Pero dito may restriction. During their terms of office, the chairperson and the commissioners shall not engage in the practice of any profession. So hindi sila pwedeng, for example, if they're also a lawyer, then they cannot practice law. Okay? Or intervene directly or indirectly in the management or control of any private enterprise which may in any way be affected by the functions of their office. For example, you also own an importation business. So hindi yan pwede kasi one time or one way or another in the future, what if meron kang importation tapos merong dispute on the tariff classification. Tapos pupunta sa Tariff Commission, ikaw din yung magde-decide doon sa ruling. on tariff classification. So that will be a conflict of interest. So bawal. Or they shall not be directly or indirectly be financially interested in any contract with the government or any subdivision or instrumentality thereof. Why? Kasi nga, if you are financially interested in something, then you will do everything to protect your interest. In effect, ang gusto lang dito ng ating pong framers ng batas ay walang conflict of interest so that the Tariff Commission officials can decide in accordance with law, can decide on what is beneficial to the country based on their investigations and based on the current tariff and trade policies of our country. Okay, question. Who among the following can be appointed as Tariff Commission Commissioner? Mr. B, born in the US, whose father is a Filipino. Mr. C, born in the Philippines, whose father and mother are Chinese. Or Mr. D, born in the Philippines, whose mother is a Filipino and father is a British citizen. So, sino dito ang pwedeng maging commissioner ng Tariff Commission? Okay, who do you think? Sino sa tingin ninyo? Mr. D, Mr. B, Mr. C. Okay, ang daming nag-Mr. D. Okay. Mr. D as in dog. Okay. Ang sagot po dito, ang pwede pong maging tariff commissioner ay si Mr. B at si Mr. D. Okay, bakit si Mr. B? Kasi natural born citizen siya because his father is a Filipino. Okay. Ito yung mga tinatawag na dual citizen, si Mr. B. Bakit dual citizen, sir? Kasi born in the US siya. Under US law, if you're born in the US, you're an American citizen. Okay? So, both American citizen siya. At the same time, Filipino citizen. Kasi nga, yung tatay niya, Filipino. Sinong concrete example nito? Mr. Edu Manzano. Mr. Edu Manzano is a concrete example of a dual citizen. An American citizen and a Filipino citizen at the same time. Kasi born siya in the US. Okay. Mr. C, born in the Philippines, whose father and mother are Chinese. Diba? Sabi ko kanina, we are a country that adopts the jus sanguinis principle. So it means your citizenship is determined by your blood relation. So kahit dito ka sa Pilipinas ipinanganak, pero yung tatay at nanay mo hindi Pilipino, then you're not a Filipino citizen. Okay? You're not a Filipino citizen. So Mr. C is not qualified because in the first place, he is not a Filipino citizen. Mr. D, Filipino citizen, natural born. Pinanganak sa Pilipinas, but remember, when it comes to Filipino citizenship, your place of birth does not matter because our law requires or our law determines citizenship by blood relation. Hanggang ang tatay mo Pilipino, hanggat ang nanay mo Pilipino, kahit saan ka man ipinanganak, ikaw ay Pilipino. Okay? Who are the chief officials of the Tariff Commission? We have here the Honorable Marilu Mendoza as chairperson, Honorable Ernesto Albano as commissioner, and Honorable Marisa Maricosa Paderon as commissioner. I tried searching over the internet ko ano yung background nila, but I could not find any. So I don't know kung si Chairperson Mendoza ba ay abogada or customs broker or nakapag-aral ng customs administration o si Commissioner Albano ba o si Commissioner Padre, anong background niya, I cannot say kasi wala akong makitang sources over the internet. Even in the Tariff Commission website, walang profile na ilagay. Now, kung yung Bureau of Customs may 7 groups, eto naman Tariff Commission, 2 lang yung services niya. Maliit lang sila na agency, di ba? Nasa Manila nga lang sila, nasa Quezon City, I think West Insular Building, dyan sila sa office na yan because maliit lang din yung agency nila. Kasi nga, hindi naman katulad ng customs na merong subports, merong ports. So hindi ganun kadami din yung mga yung mga kawani ng Tariff Commission. So yung offices nila is meron silang dalawang services. Yung una is Finance, Management, and Administrative Services headed by Acting Director 3, Jerry Gibala. So under ng FMAS and RITAS, FMAS is Administrative Division, Financial Management Division, Planning, Management, and Information System Division. Yung pangalawang service naman is Research, Investigation, and International Trade Analysis Service headed by Acting Director Maria Lourdes Saluta. Under dito sa service na to are Commodity Studies Division, Economics, Trade and Industry Studies Division, Financial Studies Division, International Trade Studies Division. Na ano yung functions ng Tariff Commission? Una, adjudicate cases on the application of trade remedies against imports. Ito yung countervailing duties, safeguard measures, and countervailing, countervailing, nakalimutan ko yung isa. Countervailing, safeguard, tama, thank you, anti-dumping, okay? Anti-dumping measures, countervailing measures, and safeguard measures. Very good, very good, very good. Magiging customs brokers talaga kayo. Next, study the impact of tariff policies and programs on national competitiveness and consumer welfare in line with the economic objectives of the government. Kaya kapag meron tayong mga international trade agreements, yung Tariff Commission lagi talaga yung nandoon. In fact, sila yung mga nagre-represent ng ating Philippine government because they are an economic policy agency. Kaya nga under sila ng NEDA kasi economic policy yung tinitingnan nila. Okay? Administer the Philippine tariff schedules and tariff nomenclatures. Kaya nga the AHTN is published by them because they have the mandate to administer our tariff schedules. Issue advance ruling on tariff classification, that is under section 1100 of the CMTA. Kaya nga kapag may conflict on the tariff classification, we go to the Tariff Commission. And who has the authority to issue ruling? That's the Tariff Commission. What else? Provide the President and Congress with independent analysis, information, and technical support on matters related to tariff and non-tariff measures. Kaya kapag nag-fix ng tariff rates, alam nyo ba na under the CMTA, yung nag-fix po ng tariff rate is the President of the Philippines. And the President of the Philippines exercises that function upon the recommendation of the National Economic Development Authority and with the advice of the Tariff Commission. Kaya bago mag-increase ng rates, bago magpalit ng rates, magkakandak muna ng consultation yung Tariff Commission. Kasi for example, let us say, papatawan ng mas mababang taripa yung mga produktong agrikultura. Of course, when agricultural products have lower tariff rates, that would logically increase the volume of importation kasi mas maliit na yung tariff rate. So kapag dumami yung volume ng importation, baka liliit yung benta ng mga local farmers kasi mas marami yung importation at usually mas cheaper yung importation. So baka mas marami pang mabibiling imported na produkto kaysa dun sa mga local products. And that would affect our local industry. And remember sa logo kanina ng Tariff Commission, they protect the local industry, agriculture, and industrial sector. So part of their mandate is to ensure that whenever the President fixes a tariff rate, all have been considered, even the effects on the local industry. Next, analyze the nature and composition and the classification of goods according to tariff commodity classification. So part na ito ng classification nila. And they furnish the information to NEDA, DTI, DA, DOF, DENR, and Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. Review trade agreements for negotiation and trade agreements entered into by the Philippines. So every time we enter into an agreement, Tariff Commission makes the recommendation. Kaya nga, if you visit the website of the Tariff Commission, marami kayo nakikita doong mga primer ng mga various agreements. the ATIGA, ASEAN Trade in Goods Agreement, the ASEAN-China, di ba? ASEAN, Australia, New Zealand. So maraming mga agreements doon na makikita mo because Tariff Commission has the mandate to review these agreements. Conduct public consultations and public hearings pursuant to its functions. So kapag merong, di ba, if you remember in your tariff law, kapag may allegation on dumping, ibig sabihin binebenta ng mas mura yung imported goods dito sa Pilipinas kesa dun sa normal value nila na binibenta abroad. So there is the dumping. There's an allegation of dumping. You have to establish 4 requisites, di ba? So para makita ni Tariff Commission is these 4 requisites are present, part dyan is yung pag-conduct nila ng mga public consultations and public hearings. So, i-invite nila yung mga sectors concerned, yung mga importers concerned, okay? And then they come up with a proposal. And then deputize, eto, no need na to kasi they have enough plantilla positions. They are more than enough. They're more than capable and numerous to perform the function of rendering rulings on disputes over tariff classification of goods. Okay? That ends my presentation. So